Dr. Poghisio, I know you want to come in, but allow me to just juxtapose two scenarios. When Moi sat in Parliament, you lawmakers told him there will be no budget if there will be no reforms before the elections, right? Yeah. That was at the height of an environment that was totally different from today constitutionally. In 2023, President William Ruto told MPs in Narok County, mimi nangoja kuona mbunge ambaye anaenda kupinga mpango tuko nao kwa hawa wananchi atasimama wapi. Basically saying you can't vote against the finance bill then. In 2023, saying, I'm waiting to see MPs who will oppose the housing levy in the finance bill 2023. Then Kenyans will know he is an enemy of the people against employing jobless youth through the housing fund. I beseech MPs to pass the finance bill with the housing levy because it's good for Kenyans. Comparing the two environments, how wanting is the quality of our representatives in your view today?
Okay, so the answer is both on the representatives and on the executive. You know, Ruto has been to school much more than Moi. But Moi was much, much more developed in the art of statecraft than Ruto. Moi saw that Kenya was bigger than him. And when I confronted Saitoti and Biwott in the private office of the speaker and said, you have a responsibility of government, things are going to get out of hand. You must accept discussions for at least a minimum package of reform to stabilize the country. They went to see Moi and he accepted. That's how IPPG started. Ruto is carried away by the delusion of invincibility. This is this crime of hubris. You think you're so powerful, you have been so successful, you even dare the gods to challenges, battles that you don't need. When he is saying, let me see who will stand up, does he own these MPs? Even the most feeble among them, they get to a certain point and then they can start seeing beyond Ruto. And Ruto should understand, a lot of the MPs that are there today are very unpopular, partly because of being associated with him. And the rebellion will start coming as they look to alternative pathways to retaining their largesse. Now, what are the differences? We were trying to build institutions. Others are riding the weaknesses in the institutions we built. The safeguards were not sufficient. We did not expect that evil men will occupy positions meant for people who grow in institutions. So they get in and they look, what can I eat here? What deal can I make here? But there is also two little things I wanted to mention here. President Ruto, in his slamming MPs the other day, seemed to be having seen the light. Even Saul became Paul in Damascus. It might be, let's just even for a moment pretend that this is Damascus moment. If this is Damascus moment, there are two quick things he can do. One of the worst things Ruto did when he became president is to terminate cases of corruption which were very advanced in courts. People were going to be jailed and billions of shillings to be recovered. The president took them out of court, allowed those people freedom. Now, if he has seen the light, let him reinstate those corruption cases. You don't need to start aligning new institutions to fight corruption when you have rewarded corruption in the past. We don't need new presidential directives. Kenya has institutions to fight corruption. Allow them the mandate and the budget to do their job. But this window dressing with appearances of seriousness is an insult on our intelligence.
I think the president is a wolf in wolf's clothing. You know, there's a sheep dyed in the wool ship, but he's a wolf in wolf clothing. I mean, everybody knows who he is. And I think that he's worked on the cracks and the divisions of our society, on ethnicity, on the power and all these things. And there's a culture of entitlement. So if you see the president when he's speaking, he says, you know, I'm lucky to be one of the 5 presidents of this country. He believes that he is destiny's child, that he's going to transform this country. He believes that he's been there because of providence of God. He's there. You can see the cultural accoutrements of giving himself this John the Baptist kind of feeling. And you could also see Mr. Duale in Garissa the other day when you were speaking, saying that I'm the kingpin of northern Kenya, and that I have succeeded in every political maneuver that I have ever done. There's a culture of entitlement in the government, which believes that they are shocked to see the president on the day that he won the election. You could see the bewilderment in his face. He couldn't believe that he actually won. He just couldn't believe it because, you know, the state was with Mr. Odinga and President Uhuru was actively campaigning. And today, as we stand, the president just cannot be told, look, you're making a mistake. And he stood up there in the program and said that, you know, the housing is working. It's failing. There's no housing project that's working in this country. It is failing. The amount of money that is getting into there is just crazy. The second thing is that his programs on agriculture, fertilizer. His own Minister of Agriculture came on TV and spoke about the corruption of the Russian fertilizer. No, every indicator that the president speaks on, it's just a false, it's a lie. It's subterfuge. And the people of this country are now very savvy to it. That is why you have this slogan of Ruto must go. But the question that we all have to answer is why Mr. Odinga is buttressing this system, when Mr. Odinga's whole political career has been a reach towards a moral platform. And the reason why Mr. Odinga is now fair game is because he said that our country was going to fail. Our country is not going to fail because the people of this country are not going to let our country fail. We're not going to do that. These young people were demonstrating on the street. They've been shot at, they've been arrested because they refused to pay taxes. They said no new taxes. There is no country in history where there's been a transformation that it hasn't been about taxation. From the Boston Tea Party to Amilcar Cabral's revolution in Guinea. Therefore, I urge one thing. There is nothing that can be changed unless the progressive people in this country and the politicians who want to make a difference in this country get into power. And the way I see this country is that the opposition in this country really needs to do some soul searching and bring one person to us that we Kenyans in this country can all line up behind and go to the ballot box and change this country from spiraling down to the bottom of Golgotha.
Okay. Coming to Senator Poghisio, the enormous institutional power that Parliament has. And yesterday we had seen them calling for the President to appear before the House in the graft claims that he made. And the blanket condemnation, what the MP said was unfair, calling on Speakers Wetangula and Amason Kingi to summon the head of state to appear before them to substantiate his claims. Ideally, it seems this is far-fetched, is it, given how they are pigeonholed despite this enormous power invested in them by the occupant at any given time at State House?
I say this again, this is a captured parliament. And it's a slave in itself to the executive. And so you can't say anything. I mean, whatever they're saying is just rhetoric. You know, when you say we're going to summon the president, I mean, you tell me who is going to write that letter.
Who will bail the cat?
Yeah, who's going to write that letter? Who's going to sign that letter to invite the president to come? The president, under the Constitution, cannot just be summoned by Parliament because he has said things like that. If they want, they can move a step higher, a step forward, much more step, and they are entitled to impeach the president. But this idea of saying,
in your view, can they?
But can
constitutionally they can.
I mean, yes. Can this Parliament?
Not this one.
Not this one.
They don't have the guts.
And first of all, we're talking about who could write that letter. Which speaker? You among those two speakers. I mean, if the speakers themselves have become agents
of the executive
on every weekend. By the way, I don't know. I mean, when we were there as leaders in that parliament, I have not ever used anything called a chopper to go anywhere. But now every member of parliament literally can afford a ride on a chopper.
Yeah.
All ministers today, even if they were going to here, just to Naivasha, will take a chopper.
Yeah.
I mean, how did we make it so easy for this public money to be spent any way we want? And so I'm just saying, the time for John the Baptist is here. And you know, John the Baptist, even the Damascus moment, wasn't an easy moment. The guy was blind for some time.
Yes.
Because you have to undergo a complete transformation. This John the Baptist is calling people, you broods of vipers. You know, he's telling them, there's a moment of reckoning. And if the President Ruto wants to change this country, and he has already come out to condemn corruption, the formation of a multi-agency thing is not the solution.
No.
People need to be arrested. People need to be in courts, charged.
Convicted and jailed.
Convicted and jailed. But if you just say, let's form another commission, how many of these things are we going to form?
It's a joke. It's a joke.
And which is housed by the...
And in any case, these same people who are called now multi-agency, actually that's their job on a daily basis. That's what they should be doing on a daily basis. Bringing them together is not helping. I mean, they on their own should be the ones fighting corruption.
Yeah.
But are they? If you look at everybody who heads those organizations, are they?
They're not.
Do they look like you can actually fight corruption?
Yeah.
How you fight corruption if you have the capacity to fight the corruption, or you have the will, but also must start from the top. This is where we ask the president. You go to Japan, you go to America, come back to this country and show us. Don't give us other people. The president, come and show us that you have the muscle. You have actually the will. And you are going to start fighting this animal called corruption. If he doesn't lead from the front, all these formations that he's giving us won't help us at all.
Merely cosmetic.
And this is his moment to change the narrative about this president. Maybe now he really wants to do something.
He won't.
But let him come out and let us see it by example. These people who are saying they will summon the president. The president has learned how to throw money at every problem. So let's see, unless they're just creating a problem so that money can be thrown after it.
He'll ignore it.
You know, but absolutely impossible. There is no speaker who can summon the president or say anything about our president today. The worst part of all this...
Constitutionally, can they?
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ayub, the worst thing about all this problem, these corruption problems, is that we have cascaded it or devolved it to our counties. Exactly what you see happening here, if you go to our counties, which we have thought devolution was supposed to solve, it's worse. So let's worry as a country and say this is a moment where we should have a debate, not about that debate of multi-generational thing. No, that doesn't help. I want to see these two leaders, Raila Odinga and Ruto, who have now come together, not to use those numbers for the wrong thing. Use those numbers to correct a situation that is there now.
Yeah, okay. And Dr. Kitui, one of the major exposés by the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was to give us the paperwork of how the agreements were all conceptualized, the paperwork of every party in the coalition agreement, Kenya Kwanza. And for the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Masika Wetangula, it was clear what's to be awarded. So as Jeff Amason Kingi, who accused Ruto of plans to slaughter all of us. In the Azimio manifesto, he meant those who attended at KICC. Days later, he crossed over to the same party. And what's to be awarded to his party. Ideally, then, they are beholden, is it? Because they already shared the country before they won power. Therefore, they cannot today have any pulse to address the president.
You know, if they had guts, if they had a sense of decency as individuals, they could rise above some of that what has happened before for them. But I do not assign them that kind of capacity. My concern is this. There's a problem in that arithmetics of distributing public resources that will not go away unless we address it properly. Ruto, Gachagua, Wetangula, and others sat down to say, you give me and my tribe a certain percentage of permanent principal secretary positions, cabinet positions, and things. A deal of ethnic coalition. Even before it unraveled, it was already causing concerns in this country. When will an El Molo be a cabinet secretary if the leaders of large tribes are going to sit down and share public positions as part of forming government? And unless we show outrage about that, we are heading in that direction again. Similarly, the outrage among people who did not come from the mountain and from Rift Valley at the start of the Ruto government has not gone away properly. The ethnicization of competition, we are right now seeing an ugly face of nitwits from Rift Valley and some from Mount Kenya region getting into ethnic sparring. The rest of us are glossing over the cracks when competition is defined as my community and your community. This is not a panacea of Kenya's problems. I think public intellectuals, progressive media, and others should start calling this out. Even we from the opposition, our rallying point should not be ethnic. And we must make bold and public commitment
To that.
that public positions will not be subject of ethnic agreement and allocation. If Wetangula had been given 30% of government, I would still feel ashamed as a lawyer that we have denied others who are competent that did not get positions because of some memorandum of let's get to power and share the animal that we have slayed. Let this inform understanding where we are today and how to make sense to a country on the brink of a new generation taking leadership.
Absolutely.
And not too much soiled by the blinders of ethnic arithmetics.
Okay.